Well, hello and welcome to Full Pipelines and Full Hearts Can't Lose podcast. I'm John Jones with BAI, where we want you to be unreplaceable and to own your future in the age of AI. And to do that, we must rise to the occasion regardless of the circumstances. Legendary basketball coach John Wooden, who led the UCLA Bruins to 10 national championships, you guys. 10. That's 10 championships in 12 years. Well, he's also famous for creating an educational model on leadership, a model that coaches and organizational behavior professors have been teaching for decades. And if you haven't heard of it, it's called the Pyramid of Success. And his pyramid contains these winning principles that are represented as building blocks, right? The building blocks of a champion. And at the very top of the pyramid is a trait that he called competitive greatness. Love that. Competitive greatness is the ability to perform at your very best when your best is required, right? Champions step up and rise to the occasion for themselves and for their teammates, don't they? And that's why we love champions. Let me ask you a question. On a scale from 1 to 10, how competitive and how challenging is your industry right now? What do you think? A solid 12? Today, I believe leaders are called to bring certainty to an uncertain world. Are you up for the challenge? I know you are. Here's what we know. That if you're going to be extraordinary, then you must have an extraordinary mindset. Now, let me ask you this. How would you describe your mindset right now? My former employer and mentor, Tony Robbins, explains this, that we don't experience life. We experience the life we focus on. And at any moment in time, what you are focusing on is either working for you or it's working against you, taking you where you want to go, or it's taking you away from where you want to go. And here's the key. What we decide to focus on is everything. I know it sounds a little oversimplified, motivational jargon, but it's more than that. It's science, and it's simply how human beings are wired. In the early 1900s, a scholar named Napoleon Hill set out to research and understand the science of human achievement, something never been done before. He was sponsored by the founder of the United States steel industry, Andrew Carnegie, and he conducted a study that was far ahead of its time. He created an advanced course called The Laws of Success, and then he condensed his work into a practical success book titled Think and Grow Rich. By the way, still to this day, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is the #1 personal development book of all time, with over 100 million copies sold. In all of his research, Napoleon considered the following law of success to be the most important. So you might want to write this down. Here's the law. Human beings subconsciously move in the direction of their most dominant thought. Again, human beings subconsciously move in the direction of their most dominant thought. He explained that the most influential people in the world and throughout history all possess what he called a definite chief aim. Not just a dream or a goal, but a clear, compelling vision of the future that must be realized. Walt Disney called his definite chief aim a magnificent obsession. These inspiring people have a way with words, don't they? And so it is the definite chief aim that unlocks the power of your subconscious mind. The definite chief aim becomes your dominant thought, and then your mind, body, spirit will take you there. Think of it this way. What you focus on expands into your reality. Here's a great example of just how powerful this is. Let me ask you, what does a drug addict focus on, you guys? What is their definite chief aim, and what is their most dominant thought? Well, unfortunately, it's getting high, right? Now, let me ask you this. Are they successful at achieving their definite chief aim? You bet they are, right? Getting high all the time is not easy and it's not cheap, but it doesn't stop them. It doesn't matter if they're broke or living on the streets. They don't have any excuses. They're completely resourceful and they get the job done. My brother is a nurse in a federal prison, and he has amazing stories about how these inmates figure out ways to sneak in drugs and make drugs with the resources they have in prison. It's pretty impressive, actually. Guys, our minds are unstoppable. We just need to learn how to program it so it works for us. It takes us where we want to go. Now, here's the problem. What we focus on expands, right? Well, we're also wired to focus on and identify danger. We have a survival instinct that served us well thousands of years ago. But today, that instinct, we need to overcome it. If we focus consistently on what we are afraid of, then we'll move towards it. Conversely, if we focus consistently on what we want, then we'll move towards the future we want. So here's your homework. I want you to define your definite chief aim. Give your mind the focal point that it needs to stay on track. We know there's going to be setbacks, tragedies, illnesses, disappointments, adversity, distractions. We need to master the ability to look where we want to go in the presence of fear. You see, many smart, talented, passionate people struggle because they don't have a compass, something to focus on when life knocks them down. And as a result, their lives are responsive and reactive. Remember, staying focused on your definite chief aim was the key to success in the early 1900s when there was 3 flavors of ice cream, right? Strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla. The automobile, there was one, the Model T Ford, and it came in one color, black. Imagine how important this principle is today with the onslaught of distraction and change and drama, the overreactions, the bright flashing lights, and the fear-triggering media attacking our brains each and every day. Please create a compelling future in your mind. It must be clear, vivid, and most importantly, it must be important to you. It's your vision. It's your definite chief aim, right? And it must be bigger and stronger than your circumstances. Proverbs says, without vision, the people perish. Don't get so busy making a living that you forget to design a life. So as your coach and friend, I just want to encourage you to take inventory of your mindset and your focus. Make sure that the most powerful tool that you have, your mind, is working for you and not working against you. We are surrounded by reasons and excuses to become fearful, to hesitate, to retract. But we're also surrounded by unprecedented opportunity, reasons, and resources to move forward, to expand, and to pursue our dreams. We need to choose to focus on our vision and not our circumstances. And as leaders, we are called to inspire others to do the same. I believe that AI and modern technology is certainly going to require us to adapt, but it's not going to replace you. You are unreplaceable. And more personal and more spiritual note, I want you to remember who you belong to. You're a child of God. A few thousand years ago, a great rabbi told us to think of the ravens. He explained that God provides for these birds every single day. They don't farm, they don't work, they don't sacrifice, they don't love the Lord, and they are far less valuable to God than you, and yet He provides for the ravens, doesn't He? Well, just know that God has your back, and if He's with you, then who or what could possibly stand against you? I just want to say this. Fear not, my friends, and think of the ravens. Stay focused. Full pipelines and full hearts can't lose. Look forward to next time.